Hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? I got some interesting updates. I'm heading back to Meduli. I've had an unlucky week in this game with this horse character. Really, I have, and I'll explain that now. I've been running back and forth from Meduli to the jungle horse spawn, trying to get as many horses as I can for my guild. Now, unfortunately, I had a few incidents that have kind of slowed that down a bit. Firstly, and this was so annoying, there was a day when I was trying to work out the fastest way from Meduli to the jungle horse spawn. I've only been back in Meduli for about a month or a month and a half, something like that. So I haven't really worked it out perfectly, or I was trying to experiment. So I was basically taming a desert horse over here where the desert horses are, because they're relatively close to Meduli. I was running there, getting a desert horse, then running back, then using that horse. I can't even talk today, sorry. And using that horse to run over to the jungle horses, where I can then obviously get a jungle horse. So that was that was kind of what I have been doing. Now, there was this day when I thought, I wonder if I can go this way. I actually went down that direction. I thought there was a tunnel, and I thought the tunnel came out the other side where the jungle horses are. So I tried it to see if it was faster, and I was basically, at one point I had to get off my horse. I was scaling this big cliff thing, and then I saw that the leader of my guild, he came on to the team speak, and I had to tell him, I was going to ask him if he wants horses and stuff, and I averted my eyes from my screen for about a few minutes. A few minutes? A few seconds, I mean. Well, I really can't talk today. And in that few seconds, I managed to fall off of this cliff that I was on, and I fell right down into an area of the jungle which is really hard to get out of, and I was just so annoyed. It took me at least an hour to walk out of the jungle. Basically, I had to walk and swim to the very, very west side of the jungle, west side, and I had to then when you get to where there's this crazy big waterfall, and then you basically have to suicide, and you end up at the priest at Meduli. But that took me an hour, and I was kind of annoyed because it was at least an hour, and it just wasted the rest of my evening in the game. I was like, oh my god. I was trying to keep calm. And then get this. The next day, there was all this crazy, there were people attacking Meduli because the guild I'm in, Koto, are currently at war with pretty much everyone else in the server apart from AQ. So Meduli was getting attacked, and I thought, I was trying to help out a bit in Meduli. I was looting stuff that people on my guild had been losing and stuff like that. Then I thought, I'll head over to the jungle horse spawn, because earlier that day it had been down. The horses hadn't been spawning at all. So I thought I'll go there and I'll update my guild on how many horses are there, because then they were basically killing all the horses of the opposition, hoping they would run out of horses. So obviously, if the jungle horse spawn was down, that means that it will be even harder for them to get more horses. You know what I mean? So anyway, I logged into my horse character, who was already at the jungle spawn, and I was like, there aren't any horses here, blah blah blah. And just as I was sending that message to my guild, a red guy, I can't remember who he was with, I think he was Russ, I can't remember. Anyway, a red guy then came and killed me while I was standing in the horse spawn. And as you know, there's not a lot you can really do. I'm a tamer. This character's a tamer, he's very weak. So this guy basically killed me so easy in a second. I was like, okay, thanks for that. Yeah, so I died, and then, see, I don't think I've ever died in that area of the horse spawn, the jungle horse spawn. I was right at the bottom of it, like yeah, the south end, I believe. And anyway, I chose to respawn at a priest, and it put me at a priest in the jungle, right at the bottom of the jungle again. I was like, what the hell? I couldn't believe it. I was like, what is going on? So again, a second evening in a row, I had to walk this character out of the jungle. I basically because I was in a different area of the jungle, I didn't really know. I basically had to walk and swim right over to the east of the jungle, and yeah. And then I had to again respawn at a priest when I was far enough over, and then it basically spawned me at somewhere kind of very, very eastern on the map, kind of Toxai area, I think. And then basically I've had to walk and make my way back, and I've just tamed another horse. So yeah, basically this game has been really testing my patience. I was kind of annoyed because I didn't realise, I've obviously learnt my lesson, that if I am killed at that end of the jungle horse spawn, I need to, as a ghost, walk up the other end, because if you're up at the northern end, or whatever end it is, like the other end, you will then spawn in Bhakti. But I couldn't believe, again, I'd spawned it in the jungle at this priest. I was like, that's so annoying. So yeah, I've had an interesting few days, quite an unlucky week, but I've learnt a few lessons. Now, I'm quite happy to see that my house is still here, because, like I said, there was a group of people who were attacking Meduli as part of the war on Koto and AQ. It was kind of crazy. I mean, it started about maybe 10 o'clock Hong Kong time, and then it kind of started to kick off more just as I had to go to bed, because it was a work night. I really have to go to bed at a reasonable time on a work night. So yeah, I couldn't really do that much, but I saw the beginnings of it. There was loads of guys in town from ES and Odin and all those guys, like, just basically, well, they were basically like getting loads of boulders, and they were destroying houses and towers. So look, wow. And I did hear when I logged into the forums earlier today that they've been quite successful. Oh my goodness, look at all these houses and stuff. You remember how many houses were here? Wow, I was really lucky they didn't decide they would take down, like, my house, really. So look, that's crazy. So this house is like, there's all these houses here, and I think there was at least one tower here. So yeah, they're obviously trying their best to, like, kill off Koto and use up all their resources, or, you know, basically like take all their assets until they like run out of money. So look, you can see that they've taken down loads of houses. Let's go around the northern side. That's crazy, man. Like, there used to be so much stuff there, remember? All that stuff there? Wow. That's insane. I'm going to slowly go over the other side. Now, I still see this big tower over here, so I believe that they were not targeting anything else other than those things over there. But it still must have taken them a good few hours, like, to take down all those houses. But that's crazy, man. So yeah, I mean, there's a real, like, effort to take down, like, any stuff that's owned by Koto, like, really. Whoa. My game is still lagging. Apparently there was a patch last night which was supposed to make the game perform a bit better. I'm still getting kind of crazy lag, so yeah. Okay, well this side looks normal to me. I don't think there's any more. I don't think they've taken anything down over here. I think because these houses, I'm not sure if they're owned by Koto I don't think they are. Could be wrong, but they've obviously targeted the ones on the other side of town. But yeah, that's crazy, man. Like that's a lot of houses. That's a lot of money. Like the tower, and there was some like tier 3 houses. That's a lot of gold there. But I still think that we have quite a lot of gold in reserve, you know. And you would hope that AQ might help a bit. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting time in this guild. We might have to, you know, start like drumming up some money, you know. We might have to start like running some crazy like money runs or something. Anyway, I hope this has helped you guys, just to update you on what's been happening in the game and my crazy week in the game of trying to get out of the jungle. I hope you guys are good, and I will see you around. Thank you and goodbye.